Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Crimes. I, as always, am your host, Tyler Groff von Rebick. That's right. The Groff has returned, and today we're going to be looking into Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. Sure, a lot of you have heard about that one, or heard of this guy and stuff. From Tiger King was like enormous for quite a while. It's like I think it's easier to count on one hand the amount of people who haven't seen Tiger King, and they post about it with memes. They're all like, "Yep, another day goes by where I have not watched an episode of Tiger King," or something like that. It's real snooty, petty shit. It's really funny. I've seen some of Tiger King. That was forever ago. I really don't remember hardly any of it. So this will all probably be a refresher for me. All right, I want to say thank you again to everyone who has continuously watched our videos. If you haven't, the most recent is Charles Manson, the devil himself. Please check it out if you could. Also, thank you to the subscribers. We're glad to see so many more people subscribe to the channel and stuff. It's awesome. You guys are awesome out there. Or I guess I should say you people are awesome. That sounds rude. So I don't want to say you guys because that sounds like men, and I'm sure a lot of them are women too. Everybody who subscribes is awesome. Put it that way. All right. Ooh, that's hot. It's good though. It's good coffee. Also, I recently started a new channel called Coffee and Facts. I know, that's super original. Where I basically talk about different topics of interest and fields and studies and all other kind of crap. The debut episode is on adult adoption. It's really interesting. You should check it out. Okay, let's jump right in. In March of 2020, a documentary hit Netflix and quickly blew into a media sensation. The documentary miniseries managed to become a phenomenal show of crazy rednecks, blood feuds, petty actions, guns, and tigers. Yes, I'm sure you've heard of it. Tiger King. The story of a private zoo owner on a rampage against another zoo owner with a mess of people on the sidelines talking about how it all went down. The key person in this enormous nightmare of bizarreness is Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. And today he's the subject of this episode of Coffee and Crimes. That's a pretty great introduction. I like that. Early life. Joseph Allen Schreibvogel, it's a very interesting last name, was born on March 5th, 1963 in Garden City, Kansas, to wealthy farmers Francis and Shirley Schreibvogel. He was one of four children: Tamara, Pamela, Yari, and Gerald. I'm going to go with Gerald. Gerald Wayne, a.k.a. GW. The family later moved to a large 8-bedroom house in Pilot Point, Texas, just north of Dallas, where Schreibvogel attended high school there. Joe was not close with his siblings, except for his older brother, Gerald. Schreibvogel and Gerald shared a deep love of animals. Joe participated in Future Farmers of America, which is now just known as FFA. I was in FFA when I was in school. And often brought home raccoons, ferrets, and other creatures to care for. He and Gerald liked to watch nature shows, and Gerald confided in Schreibvogel that he hoped one day to live in the wilds of Africa so he could see the beautiful beasts there run free. After graduating, Schreibvogel applied to work at the Eastvale Police Department, and in 1982 he was promoted to the chief of the department at the age of 19. He was 19, and he was the chief of police. That's pretty good. It's crazy because, like, hell, most chief of police I see are like 40s or 50s and have drastically lost the ability to maintain any kind of athletic prowess, which I guess that's happens when you sit behind a desk for too long. However, Schreibvogel began to realize he was homosexual and was outed by his brother Yari one day. Francis, his father, had Schreibvogel shake his hand and promise in front of the family that he would not come to his father's funeral. That's such a dick thing to do. Oh my God. In 1985, in a fit of despair, Schreibvogel drove his police cruiser off a bridge in an attempt to kill himself, but only managed to strike a concrete barrier. The incident left him with several broken bones and organ damage. Schreibvogel moved to West Palm, Florida to undergo physical therapy. While there, Schreibvogel moved in with a boyfriend and took a job working in a pet store. His neighbor would bring home baby lions and monkeys from an exotic animal store he worked in, and Schreibvogel would feed the animals, which caused him to instantly fall in love with it. In 1986, Schreibvogel moved back to Texas and took a job working as a security guard at a gay cowboy saloon, where he met Brian Ryan. The two moved in together, got matching mullets, horseshoe mustaches. Oh, God. On weekends, they would snort pink-colored meth and go out to the bars. Pink-colored meth? Why would you smoke meth to begin with? Don't you people smoke meth? I don't know. I've seen every episode of like Breaking Bad and stuff. It seems like they always smoke meth. Who the hell's snorting this shit? Well, okay, Tuco was snorting meth like off that knife and stuff. It's great. I love Breaking Bad. If you haven't had a chance to watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul yet, I recommend you doing stuff. There you go, Vince Gilligan. There's some free publicity for your show. The two married in the gay bar they met in an unofficial ceremony, as gay marriage was not recognized at the time, and subsequently bought a pet store together. The two, along with Gerald Wayne, would sell furniture they fished out of dumpsters to make money for their store. Unfortunately, in October of 1997, Gerald Wayne was hit by a drunk driver and died in the hospital a week later. Schreibvogel sold off the pet store, and using the proceeds of the store and the settlement from a lawsuit the family sought against the drunk driver, he bought 16 acres of land about an hour south of Oklahoma City. Schreibvogel poured cement for sidewalks and built a row of 9 cages. The Gerald Wayne Exotic Animal Memorial Park opened 2 years to the day of Gerald's death. Soon, Schreibvogel added animals that were found all over the state, including 2 tiger cubs, a bear, and various other critters. Becoming Joe Exotic. In 1999, Schreibvogel was called to pick up a flock of sickly emus that had been rescued in Red Oak, Texas. However, while transporting them, some of the birds escaped, and Schreibvogel gunned down 6 of them on a highway. Yeah, he just shot 6 emus on the road. There you go. He was charged for animal cruelty, but the grand jury refused to indict him. In 2001, Brian Ryan died of AIDS, and Schreibvogel had his funeral at the zoo. That's sad. By next year, Schreibvogel found love with 24-year-old event producer Jeffrey Hartpence and began doing live animal and magic shows at malls across the country. He started using the stage name Joe Exotic and allowed kids to pet tiger cubs while learning about animal conservation. Oh, that's nice. I don't know if I changed my name to Joe Exotic, though. That sounds like a stripper name, but okay. In 2003, Joe hired more assistants for his zoo and show, meeting 19-year-old John Finley and bringing him on board. By this point, Hartpence and Joe were on the outs over creative differences about the zoo, and Hartpence began worrying about himself after discovering a picture of one of the zoo's tigers hunched over a slab of meat with the words "JC's remains" on it. That sounds like a threat. One night, Hartpence threatened to shoot Joe until Joe managed to get the police to come and take him away. Soon, however, Joe's traveling mall shows were starting to catch a lot of flack from animal rights activists, including Florida cat sanctuary owner Carole Baskin. Anybody remember that song that used to come on? That Carole Baskin. That's a stupid ass song. In 2006, the Department of Agriculture suspended Joe's license and fined him $25,000 for a list of violations, including inadequate veterinary care and not cleaning the cages properly. At this point, the little zoo had the care of 1,000 animals in it. The revenues from the zoo were over $520,000 a year. Holy shit. I'm going to start a zoo. Well, actually, no, I'm not. I don't like animals. And Joe began selling merchandise, including clothes, underwear, skin cream, sex cream, and condoms. Sex cream? Yeah, Joe Exotic sex cream. There you go. That's something I want to go out and buy. Sounds like a great way how to end your relationship. And built a bar and pizza shop a few blocks down the road. He also recorded country music songs using music written by other artists and never credited them. Okay, Joe. Feud with Carole Baskin. By 2010, Joe's traveling mall shows were getting canceled after followers of Carole Baskin managed to convince the malls that it was animal cruelty what he was doing. Joe retaliated against Baskin by using her sanctuary and logo, Big Cat Rescue, to advertise his shows. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Baskin sued Joe for trademark infringement. In 2011, Joe started an online television show, Joe Exotic TV, and used it as a weapon against Baskin, taunting her sanctuary, her actions against him, and specifically taunting her over the loss of her husband, Don Lewis, who disappeared and was declared legally dead in 2002, claiming that Carole may have fed him to her big cats. Damn. Well, did they find out if did she feed him to the cats, or was he just popping bullshit off? In January of 2014, Joe married his two workers / lovers, Travis Maldonado and John Finley, in a three-way ceremony. A three-way wedding ceremony. You know, I've heard of polyamory. Like, a lot of people I know are polyamorous, where they have like 6 or 7 different like partners in their relationship. But I don't think they've ever had a 6 or 7 partner wedding ceremony. So, damn. I'm sure that wasn't legal though. Like, that's bigamy, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. However, by the end of the year, John Finley complained that Joe had become controlling and broke up with him, beating him up in a parking lot for good measure. Thanks. Yeah, that sounds like a good way to make it official. To make matters worse, Joe lost the copyright infringement lawsuit and was ordered to pay Baskin $1 million. Joe declared bankruptcy, dissolved the zoo, and had his friends form a new business entity to keep the zoo from Baskin's hands. After this, Joe began to carry a gun on him at all times. On his television show, he would post videos of himself shooting dummies, blowing them up, and making verbal threats against PETA and Baskin. Good God. This man needs better PR. That is not what you do. Like, if you're mad at someone, do not post verbal threats against them. That is like... I mean, I get it. This guy's not exactly, cream of the crop, but... Hey, really? Yeah, I don't like someone. I'm going to post threats and blow them up. Joe also recorded himself shooting and blowing up a dummy that was crudely dressed as... Oh, God. That was crudely dressed as Baskin and made the threat to her she better keep away and never meet him face to face. On March 25th, 2015, the zoo's alligator area caught flame, killing all the alligators and destroying Joe's TV studio, which he blamed on animal activists, though this has been contested, stating Joe had sought to destroy video footage of him killing the animals in his zoo for fun. Oh, shit. In that year, Joe found friendship with a wealthy man named Jeff Lowe, and Lowe moved into the zoo, offering to transfer the zoo to his name so Baskin wouldn't get it. Sounds kind of suspicious. Joe also ran for president of the United States as an independent candidate for the 2016 election, receiving 962 votes. You know what? From what I remember about the 2016 election, it's like everybody was running for it, and they were all lunatics. Yeah, 2016. I was like, oh my God. Joe got in contact with a Dallas strip club owner named James Garrettson and asked Garrettson if he knew any hitmen, stating he would pay someone $10,000 to kill Baskin. In 2017, Joe offered new zoo employee Ashley Webster if she would kill Baskin for a few thousand. Joe, what are you doing? Webster informed Baskin about this, and yeah, no shit, why would you do that? And Baskin contacted the police, who reported to Fish and Wildlife Service agent Matthew Bryant and the FBI. In August, Garrettson and Lowe began to discuss selling the zoo to Baskin, along with Joe's files and his carefully designed plot to travel to Florida to murder her. Coming to a head. In September, Garrettson agreed to record conversations with Joe and attempt to gain more information about Joe's schemes against Baskin. On October 16, 2017, Joe's husband, Travis Maldonado, had died in an accidental shooting. Well, that sucks. Apparently, the man took the magazine out of a pistol with one in the chamber and believed it would not fire without them. Oh my God. It's like a humiliation conga. Would not fire without the magazine in the gun. Shot himself in the head. He was only 23. God, that's horrible. At Travis's memorial service at the GW Zoo, Exotic stated that God put him on Earth to make him smile, and stated his balls were like golden nuggets. Oh my. There are just some things you don't say. There are just some things you don't say at someone's funeral. And stating that their balls were like golden nuggets is probably right off the top of that list. After this, Joe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh at someone's funeral, but oh my God, who the hell would say that? Oh my God. Even I know when not to say something. After this, Joe began experiencing depression and severe heartbreak. That month, the zoo needed space to take in some animals from the zoo and from the circus, and Joe solved the issue by shooting 5 tigers in the head with a shotgun. Damn, son. In December, he married Dylan Passage in a small ceremony. In November, Joe offered $5,000 to a zoo employee, Alan Glover, to travel by bus to Florida and kill Baskin. Damn. Glover accepted, and Joe gave him $3,000 instead, which he accepted. Nah, I'd be like, hell no, man. Give me the full $5,000. Garrison relayed the information to Bryant, who planned with the FBI to have Glover arrested when he entered Florida. However, Glover took the money and jumped a plane to South Carolina instead. Oh my. The agents contacted Baskin to take caution. Garrison had brought in another hitman known as Mark to kill Baskin, though this too was a setup, and Joe offered Mark $10,000 to do the job. However, no money exchanged hands, and Joe admitted he didn't have the money to pay for it. With all the contentious issues, the stress of running the zoo, the death of Maldonado, issues with Baskin, and issues between employees, Joe Exotic packed a trailer and left the zoo in June of 2018, leaving the zoo in the hands of Jeff Lowe. Arrest and trial. Joe couldn't get away from the adoring fans all over Oklahoma, and in August he took off for Florida, where he took a job washing dishes at a pirate-themed restaurant and a job bartending for a caterer. On September 7, 2018, Joe went to a local hospital to apply for another job and was immediately surrounded by 4 unmarked police cars, where he was arrested without issue and charged with hiring 2 men to kill Carole Baskin. Joe Exotic went to trial in downtown Oklahoma City in March 2019. The trial began with images of the dead tigers that Joe had killed to make room for the new ones. Over the course, they revealed graphic threats Joe had made and the damning recorded conversations. He was also charged with falsifying federal wildlife records showing evidence of paperwork tampering. Alan Glover, who had blown the money Joe gave him to kill Carole on drugs and alcohol, was brought on the stand and testified. Joe took the stand on the 6th day of the trial, berating Lowe, Garrison, and Glover as trying to take the zoo away from him. He admitted he killed the tigers because they were in poor health and old, though this was later proven to be false. Oh my. On January 22nd, 2020, Joseph Maldonado-Passage, aka Joe Exotic, was found guilty of 2 counts of murder for hire, 8 counts of violating the Lacey Act. I don't know what the Lacey Act is. And 9 counts of violating the Endangered Species Act. I'm pretty sure I know what that is. He was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Afterwards, Joe was sent to the Federal Medical Center, Fort Worth, Texas. In March, Joe sought a lawsuit against the Fish and Wildlife Service, the prosecutor, Jeff Lowe, and others for $94 million, but dropped it later that year. Tiger King, the Netflix miniseries, brought extreme fame to Joe, and its immense popularity swept the country. Several attorneys calling themselves the Tiger Team. They're great. I'm sorry. I had to do it. Sorry. Compiled a 257-page document and sent it to the Department of Justice to try to overturn Joe's sentence. Before the inauguration of President Joe Biden, the Tiger Team sent a limousine to park in front of the prison as Joe was expecting a last-minute pardon from outgoing President Donald Trump. This did not happen. Really? Was anybody thinking it would? Did this remotely sound like a plausible possibility? Well, I mean, then again, I guess nobody thought about, that people would attack the Capitol building either. So, Joe's fame had spread to many big names as well. Cardi B set up, I don't even know, who's Cardi B? A singer, I think? Set up a GoFundMe for Joe's release, and President Trump used Joe Exotic memes to make fun of Joe Biden. Classic guy. On November 9th, 2021, Joe released his tell-all memoir, Tiger King, the official tell-all memoir, using his daily access to a computer to type it out. In July of 2021, Dylan and Joe separated, and Dylan shacked up with another man closer to his own age. That month, Joe announced a male bachelorette where men 18 and over could send applications to potentially be his new husband. So far, nobody has been chosen. On March 14th, 2021, Joe announced he had prostate cancer, and by November of that year, he announced it was aggressive and it spread to his pelvis. He was moved to Butner's Federal Medical Center for treatment. Final notes. In May of 2020, the District Court of Western Oklahoma awarded ownership of the GW Zoo to Carole Baskin, who evicted Jeff Lowe and sold the park off. Lowe took the animals to Thackerville, Oklahoma to set up a park there, but was not granted a license due to poor animal care in the past, and to this day the park remains closed. Joe Exotic spoke to Steve Irwin, known as the crocodile hunter, who gave him advice on how to care for alligators and attend to an injured kangaroo. After Irwin was killed by a stingray in 2006, rest in peace, Exotic named the alligator area the Steve Irwin Memorial. Some of the alligators came from Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch. The memorial was destroyed by a fire, and the alligators were boiled alive. That's dark. Jeez, I wasn't expecting that. In 2021, Exotic revealed his outlook on zoos that changed with him being in prison, regretting his time as a zookeeper and stating he would never keep animals in cages again. Okay, so what about, any sympathy for trying to kill or, wanting to kill a woman? In 2018, Exotic ran for governor of Oklahoma as a libertarian, managed to attain 664 votes. After his conviction, the Oklahoma Libertarian Party unanimously agreed to revoke Joe's membership. Yeah, I could see him as a libertarian. Yeah. Joe appeared in several documentaries, including Tiger King, The Life Exotic, and 2 documentaries from Louis Theroux. The Tiger King story is currently being aired as a drama series called Joe vs. Carole, starring John Cameron Mitchell as Joe, Kate McKinnon as Carole, and Dean Winters, also known as Mayhem from those, Allstate commercials, as Jeff Lowe. What in the hell did I just read? I'm sure I've said it before on some of these episodes that what we usually talk about is really dark. And I said I wanted to read something maybe a little more lighthearted or something. And while this is not lighthearted, because the guy you tried to kill was wanting to kill that person, he killed those animals and stuff. This was the most wild piece of shit I have ever heard of. Like, oh my God. Thank you all for watching this wonderful episode of Coffee and Crimes. I've been your host, Todd Groff von Revick, and I will see you next time.